long-awaited arrest. A man wanted for a Saskatoon murder caught by police in Montreal. And the Saskatchewan government's wildfire response under fire. Why an evacuee says he feels forgotten. And 50 years later, a new documentary digs deep into a dark discovery in Saskatoon.
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. Filling in for Chantel this week, I'm Laura Woodward, and we begin tonight in Montreal, where a man who has been on Canada's most wanted list for a Saskatoon murder has been caught. CTV's Stacey Hine now on the long-awaited arrest.
This male is on the ground here bleeding. We're just going to see whether he's got any pulse.
It's been more than 3 years since Saskatoon police arrived at a Nutana apartment building and found the body of 29-year-old Brandon Baxendall. Now another suspect in the murder, Jonathan Ouellette-Gendron, has been arrested. The 36-year-old was listed at number 10 on Canada's top 25 most wanted fugitives. On Saturday, Quebec Provincial Police say officers arrested him at Montreal's Trudeau International Airport while he was returning to Canada. He was scheduled to appear in a Montreal courthouse Sunday. Ouellette-Gendron is facing first-degree murder and drug trafficking charges in Saskatoon. He's been on the run since May 2022 following Baxendall's death. This YouTube video from Saskatoon Police, published late last year, shares some details on their investigation. The video shows officers putting up tape, canvassing the area, collecting evidence, photographing the scene, and conducting interviews. The video says in the hours following, 3 guns were recovered by police. A few days later, police charged Mohammed Abdullah Ali. Last year, he was sentenced to 6 years in prison after pleading guilty to manslaughter.
As for Ouellette-Gendron, the Saskatoon Police Service told CTV News it's waiting until he's brought back from Montreal before commenting on this case. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Saskatchewan's First Nations health ombudsperson is speaking out tonight about an incident at Royal University Hospital. Diane LaFawn says a 54-year-old First Nations woman had her hair shaved without consent at RUH 2 months ago. She says the woman was incapacitated and unable to give consent. LaFawn called the incident a grave betrayal of trust and a violation of cultural safety. Earlier this month, the health authority put forward a new policy on cutting hair, saying it should only happen for emergencies and consent should be provided, recognizing the cultural significance of hair to Indigenous people. But the Ombuds said the family has not received a follow-up or a formal apology. Saskatchewan's highest court has ruled that a challenge to the province's pronoun law can continue. McFable now on the decision and the reaction pouring in.
A legal challenge to the province's pronoun policy will be allowed to proceed by the Saskatchewan's Court of Appeal. Saskatchewan's highest court ruled a judge will hear the charter case against the pronoun law, even if a King's Bench judge is barred from striking it down. Introduced in 2023, the Parents' Bill of Rights requires students under the ages of 16 to have parental permission before changing their name or pronouns at school. Despite heavy criticism from advocacy groups and opposition, the Saskatchewan government passed the bill. UR Pride has opposed the Parents' Bill of Rights since the policy's creation, saying it violates the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. UR Pride halted the policy's mandate once before eventually taking the government of Saskatchewan to court. eGal Canada, who launched a legal challenge with UR Pride, supports the court's decision. At the base of this case is government policy that the Court of King's Bench found, on the base of expert evidence, would cause irreparable harm to vulnerable young people, said eGal. In a statement to CTV News, the government of Saskatchewan said, "Our government will always protect parents' rights to be involved in their children's education. The Parents' Bill of Rights provides parents with the assurance that they will be involved in important decisions involving their children and that important information involving their children will not be withheld from them." The ruling will allow UR Pride's challenge to be heard at the Court of King's Bench in the future. The law will remain in place regardless of what the court rules due to the protections of the notwithstanding clause. Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
All right, Jeff, this weekend I was expecting a lot of rain on Saturday, but it held off, so thank you for that.
Well, you're quite welcome. Mother Nature's in charge. I'm just the messenger here.
All right, and what do we have for the rest of the week?
You know, right now what we're talking about is less in the way of rain. In some northern parts of the province, we wish we're getting a lot more in the way of rain, but it looks like some northern and western parts of the province might see a little bit of precipitation in the next little while. But generally speaking, we're looking at mainly cloudy skies, and windy conditions are also there. So we'll keep our eye on this system as it moves out of the area. But another one is developing in Alberta and ultimately making its way into Saskatchewan. We'll talk about that later on.
A man from northern Saskatchewan who lost his home in the wildfires is still reeling from the devastation. Tonight, he's sharing his story and pushing for more support from the provincial government. Hallie Mandrick has the story.
Dustin Trumbley's home in Daire was recently lost to the wildfires, which have devastated the community.
I've lost so many mementos from my grandfather. It bugs me still to this day. I should have got more out, but I thought we would have help.
He recently spoke at an NDP press conference, which criticized the Sask Party for hosting an upcoming golf fundraiser in a community not far from a national park that felt the effects of the wildfires. The Sask Party responded, noting NDP fundraisers were held in other areas of Saskatchewan. Meanwhile, Trumbley says he feels his community was not properly supported by the province.
I don't want to see it to happen to you, to your family, to anywhere. We should not be at fault because I was born and raised in the North. I should not be forgotten about because I was born and raised in the North. And that's how I feel. I feel like we were forgotten about and abandoned.
The summer in northern Saskatchewan has been plagued by wildfires and air quality alerts. Premier Scott Moe and Minister responsible for SPSA Tim McLeod are visiting Loche and Beval to meet with local leaders and visit SPSA facilities. In a statement provided to CTV, the provincial government says a collaboration between the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency, Ministry of Government Relations, Social Services, Environment, and SGI has been set up to assist the Daire community, stating this joint effort has allowed the task force and communities to accelerate the achievement of multiple milestones, including establishing a community resiliency center in Daire Beach for individuals and families, clearing debris from properties, and removing hundreds of lost vehicles. But for Trumbley, he says the action comes a little late this year.
I would really like to know for next time that I know that the government and their programs will be in place to make sure that there will be help, essentially, so that this doesn't ever happen again. That's all I've asked.
Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Tomorrow marks a grim anniversary in Saskatoon, 50 years since 4 children were murdered in the city. And as Carla Shinkrook reports, a new documentary digs deeper into the case.
The only child serial killer ever in the history of Saskatoon.
50 years ago, 4 children went missing in Saskatoon.
There are some stories that have had a great impact on the history of Saskatoon, and unfortunately, this is one of the worst ones.
It was the summer of 1975, the case gripping many.
Thousands of children who, weren't allowed to go out, parents who were in fear for their children's safety.
June 15th, a boy age 9 and a girl age 12 went missing here on Saskatchewan Crescent East.
This is where the children had last been seen, and their bikes were locked up. So we're standing roughly where it happened.
Then, just over a month later, it was here on Central Avenue, the site of this restaurant, where 2 girls, 7 and 8 years old, were last seen. A reward of $10,000 was ultimately offered, and many local businesses and people pitched in to search.
What it kicked the panic in our city. Now parents don't trust their children going anywhere being out of sight.
Both locations where the kids were taken were well populated.
What David did was he went and offered to buy them ice cream, and all the children went for it, and that's how he got them into his car.
He is David Thrynan, who admitted to the murders and led police to the shallow graves outside of the city where he hid the bodies on August 12, 1975. Thrynan admitted to attempted abductions of other kids also. He is serving a life sentence, according to Hawkness, having been moved to various prisons from BC to New Brunswick.
We sort of matured into a city where, things aren't all perfect.
He's been interested in Saskatoon history most of his life, but releasing a documentary about this case on YouTube on the anniversary was an important project for him.
The memory of these children, and just that it's hard to believe that 50 years has gone by.
Carla Shinkrook, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Police in Regina are investigating a child that was shot. Police say the shooting happened at a home just after 2 a.m. involving an 11-year-old girl. The child was taken to hospital to treat her gunshot wound, described as a serious injury. Early investigation shows multiple shots were fired from the home from the outside. Police are calling for anyone with information or surveillance footage to come forward. New data from the Saskatchewan NDP is showing just how many times health services were disrupted in the province. Jasmine Pelche has the details.
The NDP says it has obtained SHA data on healthcare disruptions through a Freedom of Information request and released the numbers Monday morning.
Every time a service closes, it puts even more pressure on surrounding communities and on already overstretched urban hospitals.
The NDP says that from February 2018 to July 2019, there were 86 disruptions to healthcare over the 18 months, totaling 808 days. But in the most recent 18 months, the number has risen to 643 disruptions, lasting 3,362 days.
People show up literally to their local hospital and find a sign on the door telling them that the hospital is closed.
The NDP says the Victoria Hospital in Prince Albert has seen 113 days of healthcare disruptions between February of 2018 and May of 2025. The province provided CTV with a statement saying since the launch of the Health Human Resource Action Plan, Prince Albert has seen an additional 61 healthcare professionals hired under the Rural and Remote Recruitment Incentive. It goes on to say the SHA has implemented several strategies to stabilize and enhance access to ER services in rural and remote communities, including the virtual physician program, point-of-care testing, and various healthcare human resource initiatives. And it continues to receive positive feedback from rural physicians, local leadership, and community members about these initiatives. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
The Canadian government announced more than $1 million will go towards local companies that innovate using artificial intelligence. Brittany Poitras explains.
Hear about the samples?
Artificial intelligence seems to be everywhere these days. For the founders of Regina's Ground Truth, the AI that they use is a new way of creating consistency in crop grading.
We built a system that can grade grain. Grain has been graded the same way by humans for the last 120 years, and so we built a system that can automate that process,
assisting both grain sellers and buyers. Now, his company is getting a boost from the federal government to the tune of nearly $600,000.
Other companies around the world, as they begin to use AI, we won't be able to compete unless we are doing the same.
It's part of a $1.3 million cash injection in the form of loans for 3 Saskatchewan companies who innovate using AI. The CEO of Greenwave says the value is finding efficiency.
AI is picking up on those things much faster than we're able to do manually. So it's quite exciting to use people more effectively and use capital and resources more effectively.
Kyle Smith with Off Street Technologies says the Prairie's Can investment into the local companies will help them grow into the global market.
And our goal is to capture more of the university market in North America. Right now we work with about 65 different universities, and we're looking to expand to try and get all of them. And there's about 800 of them in the U.S.
Smith adds these investments will help Saskatchewan businesses remain leaders in the marketplace. And with the growth of global artificial intelligence, Olszewski says it will be key for Canadian businesses to stay in the forefront of exploring applications. Brittany Poitras, CTV News, Regina.
Car prices are moving in opposite directions as the cost of new vehicles decline while used cars are getting more expensive. Auto Trader's second quarter report says increased demand and limited supply have led to 4 consecutive months of rising prices, leaving used car prices above last year's levels. Auto Trader says the pull forward effect, where vehicles were bought ahead of anticipated U.S. tariffs, helped drive up prices. As of June, used vehicle prices have jumped 3.6% year over year, while new vehicle prices have dropped 3.5%. Auto Trader says early buying could be a smart strategy, with prices for both new and used vehicles expected to rise the rest of the year. At Regina's legislative building yesterday, a prisoner advocacy group recognized those who have lost their lives in prison. Beyond Prison Walls Canada Society says more than 100 people have died in jail and under police custody in Saskatchewan. Red and green ribbons were tied, red representing those who died in federal or RCMP custody, and green for those who died in provincial custody.
We do know that a lot of these people have victims to their crimes, so we're not glorifying their crimes in any way. We're just remembering the lives that were lost and trying to just bring awareness to people that, you know, there are people that die in custody, and a lot of them actually are dying just before their release.
Beyond Prison Walls Canada supports people support for inmates and their families in Saskatchewan and in Alberta. Well, everyone appreciates when local artists come back to perform, but it's even better when they're singing about their home. Sierra D'Souza Butts has more on how one Saskatchewan musician is paying homage to the grain elevator.
Show 'em you can carry on with grace.
From as far away as Ottawa, fans are coming out to watch Saskatchewan singer-songwriter Jeffrey Straker.
I'm here to see my dad, who's still part of the community, and just found this opportunity to come and have a vibe by a grain elevator.
Hill is one of many fans attending Straker's concert at Sukin and Ship Pioneer Village and Museum south of Moose Jaw.
He sings a lot about, you know, the small town and the prairies and the farmers, and hats off to those people working.
It's great for rural Saskatchewan because we're losing our grain elevators, and it's a sad fact, and I just had to come and see his tour.
Really takes you back to small town Saskatchewan, where we grew up, and lots of good memories.
Originally from Punashai, Straker is sharing his passion of music and appreciation of farming through his latest tour held at grain elevators.
Such an attachment to these things in the rural communities, because they still sort of symbolize that. They symbolize, you know, an agricultural community.
Performing at 7 different sites across the province, Straker says the elevators bring him back to his childhood.
There's a real interest in these things around the province, and my heart is in these things in particular because my first ever paying job was in the Wheat Pool elevator in Punashai, Saskatchewan, cleaning out the boot of the elevators.
Although this year's tour has wrapped up, Straker says he will continue to carry his prairie pride abroad.
I toot the Saskatchewan horn wherever I go, and everyone loves that I'm singing these songs about the prairies, you know?
Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Moose Jaw.
Fans of the classic Caesar cocktail gathered at Last Mountain Distillery in Lumsden this weekend, and the star of the show, the Dill Pickle Caesar. Caesar Fest has been a beloved tradition at the distillery for 15 years, drawing many local visitors back and back. This year marked the 11th year of the event. Past years have featured celebrity pickle eating contests, but this time they mixed things up with some Plinko games and a few rounds of trivia.
So the first year we did Caesar Fest, we did it because it was really just our dill pickle vodka was taking off. Everybody loved the dill pickle vodka, and we thought, like, what is something we could do to kind of give back to the community in terms of dill pickle? One of the best parts of Caesar's is coming up with the garnish that you put on top. So we have like a huge long bar of garnishes that people can pick what they want to put on top, because it's really like the ultimate compliment to the Caesar, like the drink itself.
Popular drinks include the dill pickle beer and the dill pickle vodka. Customers could also visit a bar of garnishes to pair with the Caesar. Still to come, Air Canada flight attendants take a stand. Also, a survival story. A man rescued after 10 days in the wilderness. Watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. We turn to turbulence now at several major airports across the country. Air Canada flight attendants coordinated a silent protest. It comes amid contract negotiations with the airline. More than 10,000 employees could be poised to strike as early as Saturday.
A massive show of solidarity. Hundreds of Air Canada flight attendants silent in front of the country's largest airport, demanding a better collective deal.
We are here standing in silence in support
of our union as they negotiate with our employer.
Over 400 members of QP Local 498 filed off 9 buses and onto the sidewalk outside Pearson Airport's Terminal 1, joined across the country in Calgary, along with Vancouver and Montreal. While not impacting regular operations, the statement making an impression on passengers.
I think it's very profound.
It's quite impressive that many people have come together to do something as one group.
So I think showing this kind of thing, showing that labor has some power, that workers' rights really still live in Canada, I think it's really important.
The main area of concern in negotiations, wages and unpaid work.
So just have a little bit of space between.
Shannon Elliott saying they're only paid while their plane is in motion.
We're required to be at the aircraft an hour before boarding to ensure that the aircraft is safe from our end. We are also not paid for any of our boarding time, any of our deplaning time. If there is a medical emergency on the ground and we're providing vital, life-saving first aid, we're not compensated for that.
Air Canada saying they respect their flight attendants' rights to express themselves in a statement that reads in part, Air Canada remains at the bargaining table and is focused on achieving a negotiated settlement with CUPE, one that recognizes the contributions of its flight attendants by making them the best compensated in the country. The deadline to reach a deal is midnight Friday, the union having voted over 99% in favor of a strike, and they'd have to give a 72-hour strike notice as soon as Wednesday.
It will be pretty monumental.
But the union will not say if all 10,000 workers will walk off the job.
It's been 10 years. What I would ask is for a little bit of patience and understanding that we are just like any other Canadian and want to be compensated.
So while flight attendants came to a brief standstill at Pearson today, if no deal is reached by midnight Friday, air traffic could come to a standstill on Saturday. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
A man in British Columbia has been rescued after being lost in the wilderness for over a week. The man was rescued in a clearing where he had written "help" on a big rock. Officials say the man was last seen in July after he drove up a forest access road and got lost. After days of searching, a rescue helicopter spotted the man's truck before seeing the message on the rock. The man reportedly stayed alive by drinking pond water and using grass to keep him warm. Hundreds of Navy personnel are being deployed to the Arctic on a ship with Saskatchewan connections. HMCS Regina is sailing north from British Columbia to enhance awareness of maritime activities and reinforce Canadian sovereignty in the region. Some military families came to bid farewell to their loved ones who will be away for 6 weeks to several months.
We're losing a family member for 6 weeks, and we're going to miss him very, very much. So, of course, we wanted to give him all of our best wishes and a nice send-off, and to everybody else who's going out on the deployment as well.
The Military Family Resource Center was part of today's Sail Past. It helps those families build networks with one another, and it also offers childcare, counseling, and wellness programs, which can be a huge help during deployments. Jeff, it was a little chilly today.
A little chilly, and well, you know, the reality is going to get cooler later on. It's like today's temperatures were, you know, they weren't seasonal, but close to seasonal. But colder conditions are coming along, and the reason it felt cool today was because, well, it was kind of windy out there. So let's take a look and see what our numbers look like. We'll bring up our current temperatures. Currently in Saskatoon, 20 degrees right now. Winds out of the northwest at 11, not quite as breezy it was earlier today. Mainly cloudy skies in Prince Albert and 22, and a similar situation with a bit more sunshine in the Battlefords, but still relatively windy in the Battlefords. Winds out of the north-northwest at 24. Saskatoon's almanac, so yes, 23 is what we hit today, but 25 is typical for this time of year. 36 degrees in 1928 is the record warm temperature on this date. 0 degrees from 1893. The sun came up at 5:44, and it's going to go down at 8:39.
Thanks, Jeff. Coming up, looking for love, we meet Hank, a mini donkey on a big quest for a mate.
All right. welcome back. Well, a little bit of cloud out there right now. We did have a bit of a sprinkle here in Saskatoon, but it was didn't add up to a whole lot, and that was basically about not quite half an hour ago. But ultimately, we've got a pretty nice day. All in all, as I said, temperatures were close to seasonal. But let's take a look at our satellite and radar shot here. And here's what I'm talking about. So a little bit of this, pop-up thunderstorm, I should say, just shower activity sliding through many parts of the province, but it's scattered in nature, all part of this low pressure center that's moving through Manitoba into Ontario. They're dealing with severe thunderstorm watches and warnings, but not so much for Saskatchewan. We're keeping our eye on a secondary low that's going to be moving in the next couple of days or next day or so, and that could bring some rain to parts of northern Saskatchewan. We're hoping that it hits some of the fire areas. Right now, it's iffy. 20 degrees for Saskatoon, 22 in Prince Albert and the Battlefords. The hot spot in the province, that was Waseca at 25 degrees, Collins Bay, the cold spot at 11. Around the province we go. We're looking at 21 degrees in Lloydminster, 19 in Swift Current, 23 in Moose Jaw, 21 in Regina, and 20 in both Yorkton and Estevan. We have 23 degrees in Meadow Lake and Rosetown and Kindersley, and then we cool off to 19 in Waskesiu. A lot of places in the temperatures around 21 degrees or thereabouts. 14 degrees in Stony Rapids and Key Lake, 11 in Collins Bay, 20 in Buffalo Narrows, 16 in Sandy Bay Island Falls. 23 degrees in Maple Creek and in Coronach, and 20 in Melville. Quick look at what's going on in our futurecast. As you can see, most of the action into Manitoba and Northern Ontario, but another system moving in. But it looks like it sort of wrings itself out before it hits Saskatchewan in any kind of consequential way. Just pointing out, excuse me, folks, there we go. Alrighty, down in southern Manitoba, particularly down towards the extreme southwest of that province, there is an extreme thunderstorm warning in effect. Extreme thunderstorm watch boxes are in effect, but not in Saskatchewan. There were some earlier today, but that backed off. Temperatures are basically around 16 degrees in northern Saskatchewan. A chance of showers in Buffalo Narrows. Also a chance of showers in Meadow Lake and Spiritwood, 20 degrees in both of those locations. 26 in Kindersley, Rosetown, 25 on Tuesday. Temperatures in the mid to high 20s in southwestern Saskatchewan. And then in southeastern Saskatchewan, temperatures a little cooler, 21 in Yorkton. Otherwise, Regina, Moose Jaw, Estevan, basically around 25 degrees. A little cooler in east central Saskatchewan with a high of 19 expected in Melfort and Hudson Bay, 21 in Humboldt, and 23 in Watrous. On to the Battlefords. Clearing skies tonight, 6 degrees. Somewhat chilly in that respect, but a good chance of showers tomorrow, 24 degrees. Not much of a wind tomorrow. Then we have 25 degrees on Wednesday, a windy Thursday in store. Friday, 18 degrees, 17 on Saturday, so 22 on Sunday, and Monday, 24. So yes, a cool Thursday, that's for sure. For Prince Albert, clearing skies, 8 degrees, a slight chance of showers, 20 for a high. And then, as you can see, a real cool down. By the time we get to Saturday, we're looking at 14 degrees with a chance of some showers, 19 on Sunday, bouncing back to the 20s on Monday. And Saskatoon dropping down to 9 degrees with clearing skies tonight. Tomorrow's high, 24 degrees with cloudy conditions. And as we take a look at the 7-day forecast, 27 on Wednesday, but boom, what a drop-off. Thursday, windy and 17, but slowly climbing back to closer to seasonal values 1 week from today.
We've got some familiar faces on set. It's Steve, man. You know, I'm just going to do my best, hopefully get it right. No pressure.
There is a little less than a year to go before the next Spider-Man film hits theaters, and fans got a sneak peek this weekend. Sony released a video of star Tom Holland celebrating his first day on the set in Glasgow. Filming is underway for Spider-Man Brand New Day, which will mark Holland's 4th time playing the Webhead. The movie is set to be released on July 31st, 2026.
I don't understand at all. Why just her classroom? Why only her?
Meanwhile, horror film Weapons topped the box office this weekend, bringing in $42.5 million in its debut. Freakier Friday plays second, taking in $29 million in its first weekend. And Marvel's latest hit, Fantastic Four: First Steps, dropped to third in its 3rd weekend in theaters, earning $15.5 million.
Well, this is enough for real, afraid to feel. I just hit the floor, don't ask for more. I wasted my time.
A Canadian country superstar is bringing his all-new acoustic tour to Saskatchewan. Dallas Smith and his band Unplugged will hit several Saskatchewan communities this fall. He'll be in Swift Current on November 4th, Lloydminster on the 5th, Saskatoon on the 6th, and Yorkton on the 8th. Tickets go on sale Wednesday at 10 o'clock on DallasSmithMusic.com.
All right, Jeff, we have some picks of the day.
We sure do. We've got 3, well, actually 4, but 2 are related. I'm going to start off with this one. This one comes to us from Gord, and he says, here's a photo of Brody enjoying the backyard. Yes, indeed, that dog is stretching out. Thanks for showcasing our little guy. Colleen sends us this next one. Yes, this is from Ramsey Bay. That's about by Weaquin, and this was from July 31st, so it's a couple of weeks old, but though they still are dealing with this. She says, even though we are all on edge with the forest fire so close, we can still appreciate the beauty. Yes, I know that area is still dealing with wildfires in the area. And finally, from John Reed, this is a juvenile burrowing owl. After an enjoyable visit to Lego Brixpo at the Western Development Museum in Moose Jaw, we took a side trip to the Burrowing Owl Interpretive Center after seeing a news story on CTV. So there we go. Do we have a second picture of that? There we go. There's the burrowing owl. Yeah, so...
he looks upset with you, Jeff.
Many people are.
I give you that look a couple times.
Just a couple? If you'd like to send us an image, either a glower, if you want, you can certainly send that to cfqcnews@ctv.ca.
Still to come on CTV News, we meet Hank the donkey. He's not just horsing around, he's ready to fall in love. Finding love on the farm isn't always easy, especially for one young miniature donkey. At 7 years old, Hank is now on the hunt for a mate, and his matchmakers at a farm in Erin, Ontario are using social media to share his journey. CTV's Alexandra Holk has the story.
Oh, princess!
This Prince Charming is Hank, a 7-year-old miniature donkey looking to meet the love of his life.
We're hoping that Hank can find a Jenny, a miniature Jenny similar to him in size.
The young Jack joined a farm in Erin back in June.
Hank has been a vision of mine for some time. We got our cows first, and I feel like we've always needed a donkey.
He quickly made himself at home, but now the eligible bachelor is on the market.
Hank likes long walks around the farm, through the lavender fields. Yeah, he's just looking for a companion to live out his days with here at Erin Hill Acres.
While Hank here may be single and ready to mingle, his matchmakers here at Erin Hill Acres say there are a few boxes the female donkey or Jenny must check first.
We're looking for a Jenny that is maybe anywhere between the ages of 4 to 8, 4 to 9 years old, potentially.
Princess, where are you?
The farm taking Hank's hunt to social media.
We thought that we were just putting together a funny little video to reach out to our followers and try to find Hank a wife and a love interest.
Something the Donkey Sanctuary of Canada says is possible.
Donkeys do have the ability to bond incredibly deeply with each other.
But sometimes donkeys can be a little stubborn.
A new animal stepping into their territory, sometimes they're a little apprehensive about it. Starting to share resources together, that's a sign of being comfortable and accepting of them.
The farm is accepting applications for Hank's perfect match through Instagram, Facebook, or email.
I guess in the caption or the subject line, say, "Attention Hank's wife." I think that would be, or future wife, so that would work out, I think.
All in the hopes that there will soon be some new additions to the pasture. Alexandra Hollick, CTV News, Erin.
When we come back, how a Saskatchewan Rattlers player made CEBL history, and a festival brings global talent to Manitou Beach.
All right, welcome back. We're taking a look at our rural forecast. So as you can see, still a chance of some shower activity, some parts of the northwest or areas in the Lakeland region or towards Meadow Lake and Lloydminster and Spiritwood, obviously, from what you can see on the map. But this area could see maybe about 80% chance of some shower activity, but it doesn't really spread itself across the rest of the province, and that includes down south. And we can take a look down there. And, of course, temperatures a bit on the cool side. We'll make our way down south. I think we will. There we go. Let's get that clicker working there, JR. 27 degrees in Leader, 28 in Maple Creek, 25 in East End and Rockglen, 26 in Coronach, 21 in Kenora. So there are some warm or at least seasonal temperatures. Some places a little bit above seasonal. And does that include, there we go. Does that include, yes, does it include Capel? Not to be confused with Fort Capel. I used to do that when I was younger, but there you go. Mainly sunny skies, 25 degrees and winds out of the east at 10. And Capel is one of the places where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
A Saskatchewan Rattlers player made CEBL history on Sunday.
Under 2 to go, third quarter. A couple of free throws for Jones. Jaden Bediako, another block. He's just padding that record.
Jaden Bediako had 5 blocks on the night, which gave him 49 on the season, breaking the single-season blocks record. He got an assist on the game-winning basket as the Rattlers edged the Brampton Honey Badgers 96-85 at SaskTel Centre. Saskatchewan did not make the playoffs. The Saskatoon Berries had to shift their focus from a thrilling extra innings win Saturday night to their East Division final against the Regina Red Sox Sunday, and they came up just short in Game 1. After a thrilling walk-off grand slam to take their East Division semifinal over the Moose Jaw Miller Express, the Berries were right back in action for another long one. Despite going down 5-0 early, the Berries battled their way back into the game, tying it at 7 and forcing extra innings. But in the 7th, the Red Sox took the game 1, 8-7. Game 2 goes tonight in Regina. The Saskatoon Hilltops were humbled by the Winnipeg Rifles in Week 1 of the Prairie Football Conference's regular season. The Hilltops scored first goal with a field goal, adding just 1 more point in the first half, while the Rifles put up 27. Saskatoon only got into the end zone once all game. The Rifles won by a final score of 31-11. The Hilltops home opener goes Sunday against the Edmonton Huskies. Fresh off her magical run at the National Bank Open in Montreal, Canada's tennis queen, Victoria Mboko, is soaking up the spotlight, but also trying to stay focused on her next tournament, the U.S. Open. CTV's Adrian Gabriel spoke one-on-one with the athlete.
Utter disbelief. Victoria Mboko's maiden WTA title.
National Bank Canadian champion. How does that sound?
Now that when you say it like that, I mean, it feels kind of crazy. I'd say it's kind of hitting me a little bit harder now than it was right after the match.
When you reflect back and you see what you've accomplished in such a short amount of time, what does that mean to you?
If I would have told my younger self that, you know, I would have done something like that, I would have never thought of it.
Your family flees war in the Democratic Republic of Congo. You're born in the U.S. in 2006. Shortly thereafter, you move to Canada. Do you believe the resilience, the perseverance of your parents, of your family, has transferred into your game on the court?
I think it definitely does. Maybe I haven't really experienced what they've experienced along the way, but knowing that kind of sacrifice that they make, they worked overtime, you know, so we can have the opportunity to have more lessons and play in the group practices and play with good people. There was just so many sacrifices along the way that played a big role into who I am today. I think growing up, I always was aware of it, and I think I made more of an effort to try to better myself to make it worth it, you know?
You're 18 years old. You just won your country's top tennis tournament. How does Victoria Mboko stay grounded while continuing to rise?
I think having a great support system around me, having people who know who you are, I think it's very important at tournaments and even in life as I advance in my career, to have just great people around me that that can make me feel like me, and who can make me feel comfortable as well.
The teenage champion is indeed sure-footed in the spotlight. Her youthful gaze now shifts to the U.S. Open, where she'll be playing for the very first time, with aspirations of winning her first Grand Slam tournament now on the horizon. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Turning now to local gas prices, the average price in Saskatoon is currently at $1.27 a liter. That's down. The lowest price in town is $1.19.9. On Saskatchewan markets, Cameco finished the day at $1.0705, and Nutrien was up 97 cents. Coming up, world-class chainsaw carvers compete in Saskatchewan. Then, Vancouver Island divers stunned by a rare moment.
Hey there, Derek Chesney here at the Saskatoon Crime Stoppers. This week on Crime Stoppers Unmasked, we're asking for your help to identify those responsible for brutal assault and robbery on the city's west side. At around 4 a.m. on June 24th, 2025, a man was violently attacked near 18th Street West and Avenue J South. He was thrown to the ground, had his head stomped on, and was bear sprayed while unconscious. The suspects then robbed him of his red Bape sweater, cell phone, and t-shirt. Even more disturbing, one of the assailants recorded the attack and posted it to Facebook. The victim was rushed to hospital by a family member who saw the video. He arrived in serious condition. At least 2 suspects were involved. One was seen wearing blue jeans, a black jacket with a white hood. The other remained off camera, but was believed to be filming and was the one responsible for spraying the victim. If you have any information about this violent crime or any other crime, please give us a call at 1-800-222-8477 or leave a tip online at SaskatoonCrimeStoppers.com. Photos and video of these suspects are on our Instagram and homepage. We pay cash rewards of up to $2,000 for tips that lead to an arrest. We don't want your name, we just want your help. Saskatoon Crime Stoppers. Do your part to stop crime in our community.
Select Hair Service is brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Stay with us for another. Oh, do you read this?
I was going to say it. Stay with us for another great night of television, starting off with American Ninja Warrior, then Match Game.
Okay, well, some serious talent and a whole lot of sawdust took over Manitou Beach this weekend. The Chainsaw Carving Festival brought in artists from all around the world, showing off their skills. Take a look. Well, here he goes. Yeah. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
I was waiting. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty good. That's
very
a very
impressive
good band.
indeed.
So the Manitou Beach Chainsaw Carving Festival drew in 9 chainsaw artists from around the world, showcasing their skills. Awards were handed out, including picks from the public, festival organizers, and even artists themselves.
Like everybody shares everything with everybody, and everybody helps because we're not all going to live long enough to learn everything ourselves. So everybody kind of helps everybody, and even though it's a competition here, we still all help each other, and you know, it's a brotherhood, sisterhood.
Man, I was hoping it would get ugly, but it sounds like they all like each other.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Well, this weekend marked the 6th time the event returned to Manitou Beach.
That is cool. It's great to see that it's continuing to go on, because I remember when they started that, obviously 6 years ago, so very cool.
Wow, very cool. 2 videographers couldn't believe their eyes after an incredible encounter with the giant Pacific octopus on Vancouver Island. Take a look. John Roney and Chris Mullen went diving in Nanoose Bay. They came across this curious octopus who became enamored with their camera equipment. This creature took its own footage and even turned off the camera once it was done. The octopus then appeared to give Mullen a hug, reaching its limbs to feel his face. I like that when an animal does something like this, we assume it's a hug. It's nice.
As opposed to, do I want to eat you?
Yeah. It's like, oh, he's smiling. It's like, do we know?
Anthropomorphizing again.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But very cool.
Yeah, very interesting. And if we have time for it, we can simply tell you that it's, we have no time. No time. Too much octopus talk.
Too much. Should have wrapped it up.
Quite with a tentacle.
There. Hey, look at that shot. Beautiful.